everybody, I am back with another video, and today, well, the last video we talked about my most disappointing reads of the whole year, so I thought we could talk about my favorites of the whole year in this one, which I'm so excited about because I had a really great reading year and I feel like I have a lot of variety. I will say the majority of these are either a fantasy or a classic, but let's just get into it. So I have gone and marked the ones that are favorites, and the first one is actually a graphic novel, and that is The Moth Keeper. I don't remember the author's name, but it'll be up on the screen. This is a graphic novel and the art style is stunning. It is just so gorgeous, and it was like one of my first graphic novels I'd ever read, and I just loved it so much. But we are following, I don't even remember the main character's name. I did read this like in January, so almost a year ago. But in this world setting, they sleep during the day and live at night because they worship the moon. And so they want to be awake when the moon is out. And a certain person in the village is one of the moth keepers, and these are, the moon gave them moths that glow as a gift for them worshiping the moon and being awake when it's out. And the moths give light, and they also nurture this tree that provides food and stuff for the village. So it's a very esteemed position, and our main character gets chosen to be the moth keeper, and it just follows her adventure. And as she starts to grow more and more confident in herself, she doesn't have a lot of self-esteem, and this story was so good. The artwork, like I said, is just stunning. I've never seen more beautiful artwork before. And I need to reread this because I was just blown away. It was so beautiful. Yeah, not a whole lot of stuff to say on that one. I definitely need to reread it. But moving on, we have... Big Boy is getting into something. A cat is always getting into something in my videos. But I am going to put the two books by this author together. This is more a new favorite author, and that's Danielle Bullen. I read Frostlight and Sparrow in the Sun by her. And I love her writing pacing. She has this sort of classical style to her writing where it's slower, it's immersive, and I just love it. I feel like a lot of fantasies are really fast-paced and action-filled, but hers, you really got to sink into it gently instead of just being thrust into it, and I loved it. And Sparrow in the Sun is my favorite. It is a series. I'm so excited for book 2. I'm literally so excited. Frostlight I read first, and it's perfect for wintertime. It's about seeing the beauty in winter. And one thing Danielle Bullen does so well is world building. She creates these whole other worlds that they feel so real and 3D. And the characters feel so realistic in the struggles they have. And I just love her writing style. I'm so happy that I found her. And I cannot wait for book 2 in the Bloodsong trilogy, which is the Sparrow in the Sun book. That's the first one. But a high recommend for both of those if you want more slower paced fantasy with really good world building. A fantasy series I have not stopped thinking about, and that's The Ravenwood Saga by Morgan Buss. I'll put all pictures up on the screen. Let me get my head out of the way. I read these from the library. I don't own them. I will say I hate the covers. I would probably rebind them, but the stories, I have not stopped thinking about this series, and I read it in March maybe, so a while ago. But this is such a beautiful series. So we are following Selena Ravenwood, and in this world there are 9 houses. Each one has a unique gift in each of them, and House Ravenwood, it is believed their gift was wiped out when the Empire invaded 400 years ago. They think that the Ravenwood bloodline was completely wiped out because the gift only is passed along through the royal bloodline, and all of the Ravenwood royalty were slaughtered during when the Empire invaded 400 years ago, or so they think. Unknowns to all the other empires and great houses, the Ravenwood gift is alive and well, and it is being used for quite a different purpose, because the Ravenwood gift is they can enter people's dreams, and they used to use it to gather intelligence and spread messages and spread courage in battle and stuff like that. But now it is being used for killing, because they will go into these dreams and push like their person's greatest fear to the point they have a heart attack and die. And Selene is next in line to become the lady of House Ravenwood. So she is getting this gift. And it is quite a hard thing for her to be able to do this, to go into someone's dream and do this to that person. And this series is so good. The setting of Ravenwood is so gothic-y and the vibes were perfect. And then Celine as a character is so endearing to me, watching her sort of soften and trying to fight back her very human emotions. And I love this series so much. I need to buy it, or I need to reread it again. But if you want a gothic fantasy with lovable characters and characters that will stick with you, definitely read this trilogy. It's my favorite out of all of the Morgan Buss books I have read. Okay, next, I did something quite crazy. I had read Way of Kings and Words of Radiance last year, and for my birthday, well, I found Oathbringer thrifted for $1, almost brand new. I'll never shut up about that. But for my birthday, I got the 2 novellas and the next 2, Rhythm of War and War and Truth. I read all of them back to back. It took a long time, and I don't know what possessed me to do this, but I read the rest of the Stormlight Archives all in a row. Not a single book in between them, not even an audiobook. And I had the time of my life. This is one of my favorite high fantasy series of all time. It's crazy we have to wait like 7 years for the next one. That's insane, but honestly reasonable, because there's so much that go into these books. They're like 1,200 pages each. And I think out of all of them, Wind and Truth is probably my favorite. I know that this one disappointed a lot of people, but I loved it. Kaladin and Sazeth are my favorite characters out of the entire series, but I will say Adolin really did grow on me, especially in Rhythm of War and Wind and Truth. Shalyn, I like her. She's I don't know, my feelings changed towards her a lot, and Venli, I hate her so much. I'm a Venli hater till the day I die, and nothing in my mind will ever be able to change that. She is just, I'm not even gonna get into it, because then that's what this video is all gonna be about. But yeah, don't like Venli. But this series is extremely high fantasy series that is hard to give you a plot on, because there are so many moving components in this series. But Brandon Sanderson is the king of world building, to the fact that I am sure that Roshar exists out there somewhere. I'm 100% sure that it is a planet, we just haven't found it yet, and it is out there. And I don't know if I would want to live there. It's kind of scary, but maybe. But yeah, Wind and Truth was one of my favorites. I did really love, I love all of them for different reasons, as well as since I read them all back to back, I sometimes have a hard time remembering like what events took place in each book, and sometimes I think like event that took place in Oathbringer happened in Rhythm of War. But Wind and Truth is my favorite, and then Words of Radiance. Those are like my 2 favorites out of the series. I kind of want to reread it. That's insane. But yeah, I would like to reread the Stormlight Archives. Definitely go give it a try. Apparently, you're supposed to read Mistborn first. I did not do that. I am playing catch up now by reading Mistborn, but love the Stormlight Archives. I can't wait for book 6. Oh, it's gonna be so good. Okay, then we have my favorite series of the whole year and my new favorite author of the whole year, and that is I have a stack here of the physical copies that I have out, because a lot of the books are packed, but I have a couple of them out and they're all in the wrong order, so give me a second. The Wormwood Abbey series, or the Secrets of Ormdale series, is the official title. If you don't know, this is my Roman Empire of a series. I love this series so much, and I am literally gonna freak out when the next book and the newest versions of them come out. But this is a historical series with fantasy elements and a very gothic setting that I eat up. So in the first one, Wormwood Abbey, we are following Edith Worms. She is a clergyman's daughter. She's quite the scandalous woman for her time. She writes detective novels under a pen name, but she is that girl. I'm telling you, I love Edith so much. And her dad gets a letter that his brother has died, and the abbey that his brother owned now falls to her father because his brother's daughters can't inherit because women couldn't inherit property in this time period. So they go out to Wormwood Abbey, this ancient, decrepit abbey that is falling apart a little bit and has some very dark secrets going on. And honestly, the adventure just takes off from there. If you can't guess, there are in fact dragons. We've got dragons all over the place. And I love this series so much. There is never a book where I am bored. There is never a book where I'm like, that could have been different and I would have liked it better. Every single one was an absolute banger. And the newest one, A Menagerie of Dragons, takes place 10 years after the events of Valley of Dragons. And we are following a character that we got very little page time with in the original series. And that's Una, who is the daughter of the... Okay, this is gonna sound confusing. The daughter of Edith's uncle. So the girl who was living at the abbey and her dad died and she couldn't inherit. It follows her, and 10 years later, we have now a Royal Society of Dragons, and she is the runner of the menagerie, which is sort of like an exhibit where people can come and experience the dragons. And she is an incredible character. This book was so good. There was a villain in here who I hate with a passion, and A Conspiracy of Dragons is coming out. I don't know if it said like which month it was coming out. Let me look. Yeah, A Conspiracy of Dragons coming in 2026. So I don't know when. But she is an auto-buy author for me. No matter what she writes, I will buy. And another story that is set in the Ormdale world is Yenushak in Love. It is a short story. There's no physical copy of it, but I read it online and it was so sweet. Yenushak is one of my favorite side characters. I do have to give yet another moment for the covers of each of these books because they are just so pretty. You can just tell how much passion and love went into this, as well as the research. There are so many fun historical references throughout the books that I'm like, I did not know that, and now I want to go research that. So that is always a side bonus. So we have Wormwood Abbey, utterly beautiful. Drake Hall. I love the water dragon. I love how unique sort of the dragons look. They're not the more stereotypical dragons that we see in media. They're definitely more unique. This one is my favorite. This book was really good. There's also sometimes some more like folklore elements, which is something I really enjoy in a book. And we have City of Serpents. This one was so fun. We were in London. There were evil scientists. It was great. And then Valley of Dragons, there's Cardian. I think I want to say Karadec, but that's the guy from High Potential, so that's not the right name. And then, of course, A Menagerie of Dragons. My copy got a little warped because it was sitting outside and it was like really cold, so I'm a little sad about that, but I love that series, Conspiracy of Dragons. I will be auto-buying, as well as I actually bought the exclusive cloth-bound Kickstarter edition of Wormwood Abbey, and it's shipping soon in the new year, and I will be unboxing it with you guys because I'm so excited. If you do want to get a copy of it, I'm pretty sure the late backer store is still open, so you could still get a copy of this stunning edition. There is character artwork, there is a gorgeous map, and the sprayed edges, as well as just the cover. I'm so excited. I am gonna build a shrine to this series, but that is not yet. But I will be building a shrine soon. Next, we have an absolute favorite of the year, and that's On the Edge of the Forgotten Sea by Alyssa J. Zavalianos. I started reading her writing last year. I started with The Earth Treader, fell in love with her writing style, and I read everything else by her except for the middle grade because I don't really read that. This book, first of all, I think I've shown you guys, is stunning. The story inside, however, even prettier if you can believe it. I actually got to read an online early ARC copy of it, and that was, I literally was screaming when I got the email that I got to read an early copy, because I was like, oh, my dreams are coming true in front of me. This is insanity. And also the back art. I love this cover so much. However, this is a series called The Chronicles of Kara, and each book is going to have a bit of a retelling aspect of it, but I feel as though this one has some Little Mermaid retelling aspects. I feel as though they weren't super prominent. Only a couple things really gave off Little Mermaid vibes. The rest of it was just completely original and unique, I believe. But in this book, we are following three characters. Three characters. We are following Mary. Her full name is Merryweather. She is a mermaid. Then we are following Prince Ollivander, who is the prince over Windkeep, a province in the land of Kara. And then we're following Jack Hughes, who is a lighthouse keeper in Wales in the 1990s. So we start off by following Merryweather, and she has fallen in love with a boy on the shore named Ioun, who, we don't talk about him. We just don't. It's sort of a Venli type situation. And she ends up going to Daria the Sea Witch to get human legs. So that's sort of the Little Mermaid retelling. But it comes at quite a cost. And then she gets on land, and Ioun, he just, I hate him. But when she finally gets on land, a decree goes out through all the land that girls ages 18 to 24 must leave Windkeep for 1 year. And that is because there was a prophecy when Prince Ollivander was born that a maiden on his 18th birthday would come and destroy him. So they're trying to prevent that. And from there spirals a crazy sequence of events that is so enthralling. Like, I was so intrigued, because it's really hard for me to read online, but this kept me reading online. And I highly recommend this. I cannot wait for the second book. Okay, we have 3 more books, so I'm gonna try and go fast. Hang on, the pile is getting quite clunky. We have Jane Eyre. This book blew me away, actually, and this is by Charlotte Bronte. This is a gothic novel, and it is a masterpiece. There is a reason it is such a famous book, because this book was so intriguing. Like, there were so many things that were happening, and I was like, oh my goodness, I need to keep going. I did give a review of this one in a different video, so I'm not gonna talk about this one too much, but one of my favorite classics that I've read out of the whole year. I have a recent read, and that's Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. I was hoping I would love this, and I did, so I'm very happy about that. In this book, we are following 2 magicians. The first one is Mr. Norrell. He is a very eclectic old man who is very reclusive. He lives in his own little world. He does not like other people entering into his own little world, and he wants to revive interest in English magic, because it sort of died down during the war with Napoleon. So his first act of magic is to make a bunch of stone statues start talking, and after that he gains fame, and he goes to London, and he tries to get people's help, people in the government's help, to revive English magic. And he ends up raising someone from the dead, which is this completely does start to revive interest in magic. And eventually he takes a pupil, which is Jonathan Strange. But after Jonathan Strange goes off on his own to practice his own magic for a little bit in the war, he comes back and he ends up splitting off from Mr. Norrell, and there starts this sort of rivalry because they have different beliefs on magic and how to use it. And so it starts this giant feud between 2 magicians in England that starts awakening things and bringing up things that have not been seen in England for many, many years. This book, The Raven King, that was so intriguing. And the way it ended, I was like, yeah, I hate it, but it works. And I am so excited. I need to read The Ladies of Grace Adu. That was a place mentioned in like a footnote in this book, so not at all talked about, but I do need to read it, and I loved it so much. I'm gonna try and watch the BBC show. And then we have my favorite book of the whole entire year, and are you surprised? It's Dark End by Crystal D. Grant. This is my signed copy. that I bought in the bookish box. This is the third book in the Gateway trilogy, and oh, this is my favorite series of all time. Oh, that's hard to say. I love Lord of the Rings. Okay, one of my favorite series of all time. And I got to read an early copy. So obviously that was like Christmas and a birthday all in one day, in one email. And this is a Christian fantasy series done so beautifully well. I cannot stress how much I love this series. And normally there is quite a heavy like romantic aspect, especially in the first book. Normally I don't love that. I liked it to more focus on the world, the politics. But she writes this romance so well and writes yearning and like soulmates so well. I cannot even. This book, all of these books are works of art. Every single one of them has been like a 10 out of 10. And this one was making me laugh, making me so sad. I cannot even. This book, just go read the whole series. Just go read the whole series. That was sort of a chaotic review of all of my favorites out of the whole year. I had quite a good reading year, and I hope you guys did too. Definitely let me know what some of your favorites were, and I will see you in the next video. And also happy holidays, and goodbye.